Hi everyone, welcome back to SwitchUp. We've got a review of the very interesting looking Dysmantle, and I've worked with Asdin, who's also got a review of this one over on his channel. I'll pop links to that in the description, but we wanted to bring you the SwitchUp version. Now there's something quite appealing about disaster or cataclysmic events, at least from a narrative perspective, whether they're narrated, filmed or released as a game. And we've certainly seen our fair share of survival games, which sometimes blend a mixture of genres in order to set the player into the most bleak of scenarios. Dysmantle in this regard is no different. Developer 10 Tons has graced the Nintendo Switch with their own survival open-world RPG, and we have left the Pit Boys at home to test out this new apocalypse. Is it Vault 101 or more Room 101? Well, let's find out. Having survived a good deal of time in the underground shelter, the main protagonist decides to leave and venture into this brave new world. They're greeted by the remnants of a society overrun in foliage and chaos, with very little knowledge about what's occurred. The only thing you do know is that you must survive. For what purpose? Well, the only way to escape is to live long enough to do so. Although the main story may lack originality, its pacing and implementation will aid in delivering to the player that very unique sense of loneliness, but also wonder that the post-apocalypse can provide. As far as mechanics go, the aim, as the title suggests, is to destroy absolutely everything and break it down. This is how you gather materials and items that you'll need in order to create and upgrade your equipment, weapons and other trinkets, all with that ever-present purpose of escape. Now virtually everything can be broken down, as long as you're using the right equipment. As you're doing so, you'll be gaining experience and leveling up, and with each level, the survivor will gain new abilities and blueprints. It's an incredibly addictive loop of gathering, building, repeating, with improved tools allowing for more destruction. The character by default auto-collects materials such as the plant matter, which may be on the ground. A little bit annoying when you have limited inventory space, but the developers remedied this by allowing the players to toggle that auto-collection feature off, something I strongly recommend. You'll also find other nifty features, such as the ability to track exactly what materials you need in order to progress with the next upgrades. You'll find a good variety of quests and other activities, but as with any open-world survival game, you're encouraged to take things at your own pace. As with the aforementioned Vault 101, exploration is king. The quests themselves, though, range from killing X zombies within a time limit to following the clues to a treasure hunt, with the rewards previously mentioned. The whole experience takes place on a large sandbox island, home to a plethora of inhabitants, most of whom don't like you particularly much. The fog of war will impede the player from checking out the map fully, but you'll find little snippets of radio messages that describe what's available within certain coordinates, pushing the player to gear up and head out on that dangerous but exciting exploratory mission.
Gathering points for the evacuation have been established.
Ubisoft would be pleased to see that there are radio towers that will help expand the visibility of the map, as well as becoming fast travel points. These can also be upgraded to assist you with other benefits. The combat is quite simple to grasp and it's reasonably enjoyable. Enemies come in all shapes and sizes, spitting toxic ooze or swiping with their scythe-like claws. The game uses a campfire system so that when you rest, those enemies will actually respawn, and it's through resting that you'll be leveling up and storing any materials you've collected. Dysmantle isn't a particularly hard game. However, when you die, as I'm sure you will at one point or other, you'll drop all the materials you've collected and return to the nearest campfire. Returning to your body will allow you to get your gear if you can survive, Elden Zombie style. When thinking about the pacing of the game, there's no real urgency here. You won't find yourself timed or having to struggle with hunger or thirst, which allows for you to concentrate on the exploration, and you can also farm, hunt, go fishing and cook. Certainly a change from most post-apocalyptic games. Now the controls are also catered for a simple and comfortable experience. You'll swing your weapon with one button or hold it to charge up attacks. It's nice to see them put a bit of touchscreen implementation in here for things like the map, and I have a couple of criticisms, but those are more to do with what the game doesn't have rather than what's in here. I enjoy the experience here. I think it would also benefit from perhaps a hard mode or a harder difficulty mode like the Ranger mode we've seen in the Metro games, even going so far as to add in some new mechanics such as hunger and thirst. Also, having to use ingredients in a very specific order rather than just dump them and create what you need felt a bit unnecessarily clunky. What Dysmantle does really well though is create a very compelling and addictive experience within a world that's worth exploring. The misgivings, well, they're not the end of the world. Ooh, that's a bad pun, Asdin. And for me, the gameplay is well worthy of 18 out of 20. Control score 16 out of 20. The presentation is decent. Some of the biomes look really nice, and there are some great pieces of artwork on the loading screens, but some of the aspects aren't quite as appealing to myself. While the top-down perspective does its job, and you can see those cartoony characters against the backgrounds, some of the animations aren't quite as high quality as I would have liked. However, those of the wildlife are much more effective. That being said, the destructibility is actually reasonably impressive. Text size, the bane of every Switch user's life, is legible, however it's slightly too small in certain scenes. But the developers have clearly taken a lot of time with their accessibility options. You'll find a colorblind mode here, that includes a few different filters, and it's surprising to see that you can toggle on or off dynamic shadows, as well as a few other graphics options to tweak the performance to your liking. It would have been nice to be able to zoom the camera in without going into the menus to change this, but at least it's there. Visually, they've gone for just a simplistic approach that works well and keeps everything nice and clear for the player. Most important, the performance is actually okay, and we didn't experience any crashes or other major issues. A few little bugs and quirks need patching out, but overall visuals are okay. They score 15 out of 20. Dysmantle opts for a soundtrack chiefly composed of ambient sounds. Such as birds chirping or the wind howling through the trees. There are some excellent songs in here though, particularly Safe Trips featuring Stephen Ellis, and This Is the End of the World by Comus Svensson. The ambient screams of enemies and animals and the breaking down of those metallic and wooden props make for a really satisfying soundscape. The campsite music's relaxing, and while clearly a developer choice to concentrate more on that ambient experience, very occasionally it will just make things feel a tiny bit more empty. Audio scores 16 out of 20. Dysmantle will set you back £17.99 or your regional equivalent and carries a 1.1GB download. For that, you're getting an extensive survival experience which will take you around about 40 to 60 hours if you want to do everything. In my opinion, that offers very good value, combined with the fact that it's a very compelling and addictive game. For many, this may remain a hidden gem, and although the artistic style in some areas isn't quite to my taste, everything's functional and it works well enough on the Switch. Overall, I give value 17 out of 20. Now is a really good time to jump in with Dysmantle. Not only is the price right, but we have some DLC due on the horizon, and the map and experience is pretty huge. There are a few minor issues here as mentioned, but if you're after an addictive post-apocalyptic experience, then 10 Tons have the game for you. It gets a SwitchUp score of 82%. Thanks so much to Asdin for helping co-write this one. Please do go and check out his review. You can do a spot the difference, compare and contrast, but the guy is an absolute legend, and we really appreciate him here on SwitchUp. Thanks to all of you that leave comments, to those who enjoy the channel, and in particular to our patrons who support us each and every month. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers guys, see ya!